Very good. Excellent. Go to alive. Yes. Camera lady said, I'm not on the alive. Oh. Are you there? I hope so. Can you hear me? I hope so. I'm talking to my computer. Difficult to see you. I hope you see me. I will not see it, but I'm imagine. In mind is the front. Okay. I hope now it works. And I just want to say again, I'm very happy. It is a great privilege to be in front of you. And we are studying the great beneficial task we call the compassion that we are studying, and particularly relate to this text they call the word of my perfect teacher, and concerning the limitless sentient beings. We wish to dispel and whoever sentient beings and dealing with sufferings, and these sufferings we need to eliminate. And in the text says, wherever space there is the sentient beings, wherever sentient beings there's confusions, wherever there's confusions there is the sufferings. Now it is the very important to concerning like those sentient beings, like imagine or consider as our parents or the families, and they experience most times sufferings. We need to think their sufferings. We need such renunciation to eliminate their sufferings quickly, urgently. Therefore, we are urged to the Buddha and Bodhisattvas, please, to think of our sentient beings, to eliminate all the different sufferings. And of course, according to the Buddha's message, we understood Buddha, he gave genuine, supreme, peerless guideline, methods, pit instructions, how to eliminate each individual sentient being's sufferings. If we undertake that message, there is 100 guarantees we can eliminate our sufferings. But if we do not acting, not follow, not obey the Buddha's message, how we make separation of our sufferings. That is the main point. And also the Buddha's message, and he's telling the truth to us. There's no existence in this space someone's give direct happiness and liberations without doing any our own self. And that is the history, and that is his message. He said that I give you methods, guideline, how I did eliminate my own individual suffering These methods, purely, utterly, honestly, I'm telling to you, you use that, then you can to eliminate your own sufferings. And according that, we follow and we listen, we are imitating. And according to Buddha's message, there's the questions. Which sort of things can make or to eliminate our sufferings, samsaric sufferings? The answer is compassion and the wisdoms. Only compassion and the wisdoms, yes, 100% sure. No any other things. And through the compassions, and we can to eliminate our own suffering, we can to find solution how to avoid our own sufferings. When we are generate bodhicitta and also other sentient beings receive from us because of our compassions, they receive happiness. And also this influence our compassions, they can also be free from the sufferings. But we haven't got any compassion, we haven't got any development of the wisdoms. Other sentient beings, how they can receive happiness from us. That is the truth, obvious, realities. Therefore we are need compassion. And also we say, may all my activity, action of the body, action of the verb, action of the mental mind, every acts, every movement of the actions may become the benefit for other sentient beings. We will delete to say again and again, each single thought to take this form into our mind and to pray that, yesterday says, may my life in the future, lifetimes, I never reborn any harmer, may I help to sentient beings. May I will make liberation to sentient beings. May I become useful for sentient beings. Whoever sentient beings need things. That is the great compassion. That is we needed. If you have this and a good heart, that is your liberation path. That is your really source of all the happiness, temporarily or ultimately. This is 100% sure. No argumentation, no dispute. It's obvious. There's no kind of the cannot argue or defeat. Someone says your compassion, kindness, good heart is not source of happiness. 100% is not truth. Kindness, love, compassion, sympathetic, impartialities. This is like kind of the part of the compassion we call the four boundless qualities. They are the source of the happiness. And today we are the boundless qualities of the compassion we are studying. We say meditation on compassion. And yesterday is like we started that. And today we are the paragraphers. They consider the suffering of all beings born in the hells, among the pretas, and other elements of the torment. Identify with them as if they were your parents or yourself, and meditate on compassion with a great energy. And yesterday we studied enter there how we can to practice the compassions. With the compassion, the object on which we focus is suffering sentient beings, and the form compassion takes in the mind is the wish that they be free from both suffering, it is cause and result. And this is the kind of essential meaning of the compassions. And yesterday we are considering such sufferings, the true examples. One is the prisoner, and by the country law they are going to execute. If we be in this situation, which kind do we have feeling? And also maybe we can to see the some in the butchers, some animals the butchers bring into the slaughter place. The moment they are going to slaughter, we forget that this, the thinking the animals. Maybe we think this animal is like our old mothers. What you are going to do? Your old mother is kind of the one moment they are going to kill. And how you can choose to solve or to make free from these sufferings. And this we are like kind of the focus in the suffering sentient beings in order to develop compassion. When we look at and in the sentient beings, there are limitless beings sufferings, and they are like kind of the fundamental physical verb mind is exactly the same we are. And we like kind of day and night concerning how we can to get happy, comfortable, free from sufferings. How we can to get rid of any slight of sufferings. We don't want to be injured the sufferings. Exactly the same of the others. That is the obvious. And then how we can to help to them. In order to help, we need to develop the compassions. Those sentient beings, why they sufferings? Because they also did a lot of negative actions. When they did the negative action, they have the negative debts. They need experience the sufferings, same as we are. Now we understood, according to the Buddha teaching and our own individual spiritual friends. And we have such education with Dharma, we understood what is the right, what is the wrong. That means what is the cause of the happiness, what is the really cause of the sufferings. We have the discriminating wisdom to understood differentiation of what is the really cause of suffering, cause of the happiness. And we are need now to develop the compassion to stop 10 negative action, develop the compassion to develop more and more 10 positive actions in order to benefit for ourselves and other sentient beings. And also, in order to develop, we need to thinking suffering sentient beings of in the hell and pretas. And we are like kind of the hells. We already investigated. I want to say thank you. You studied all the situation of the hells. There's the 18 hells, hot and cold, and like 4 neighborhood and shamali trees. Wherever those place, in the place of the hell, there's nothing kind of the happiness. Whoever dwell, whoever reborn there, day and night, inconceivable sufferings. I think this kind of lamentation sound. Then it's like someone is very much hot, someone is like very much cold and muddy, and so much sufferings in the hells. And if we reborn there, or maybe those beings, maybe our families, we think right now they are urged to us in order to help. They send a message, they calling to us. They say, we need help, we need your help. In the hells, there's nothing kind of happiness. You know, in the one film, history, this is like kind of Hollywood. There's one guy, and he's like kind of, after the university, successful. He's married, and he has 1 or 2 children, and then the family's bought very nice house in the countries. And certainly one night, burglars came, and he went out and burglary run, and he threw on some stone or the stick, hit it on the burglar, and he killed. And then police said, why you killed? He says, this is burglar. The police don't believe. Maybe you is like kind of fight it. And he needs to go to the jail. And he declared, but of course there's no proof during the night. He need to go to the jail. And he went in the jail and the prisoners. And he went inside. They are very, very strange people. Of course, prisoners all the time like this, full of the tattoos, strange. They're beating each other. You kind of the humbly sitting, like to practice patience, they beat more to you. In that, like a prisoner, who is the be strong? They every day they're beating and fighting each other. And he's a quite strong guy. And he's like kind of the law decided maybe 5 years he need to prisoner. But during these years, impossible to stop the fighting. He killed another persons. And then he need to stay more there 20 years. And families, wife, children say, do not do like this. Why are you doing this? And he said, you do not understand. you can to imagine, in this prisoner is completely hell, no freedoms, and no choice. There is who is strong, who is can to kill. I don't want, this is not my purpose. But in the prisoner situation is like this. Exactly like this. In the hell, they don't want hell beings, they don't want to have sufferings. But the day, night, they no choice, they are sufferings. Maybe those sentient beings, perhaps, maybe our family, maybe our parents, maybe our children, who knows? We need to imagine, focus on those suffering sentient beings in hell. And pray thus. And also day and night, they have hungry, thirsty. You already studied. And also animal realms, human, God, demigod, any kind of realms, there's tormented sufferings. Identified with them as if they were your parents, the present parents. If they are direct to go to there, are you just ignore? Impossible. Like this kind of we need to focus and in order to develop the compassions. Or maybe it's the yourself. Now maybe you think, I'm healthy, I'm everything. I'm not in the hell, I'm not in the preta, I'm not kind of the any other suffering realms. I'm a human being, I'm powerful, I'm rich, I'm not dependent on any others, but that is not your guarantee. You today is like this, but your body is impermanent. Your life is impermanent. Your all the position is impermanent. It's like kind of momentary nature. In this moment you are healthy, everything is okay, but next moment you don't know. Obvious. Next day, next month, next year. We don't know. Who knows? Only God knows it. Who knows? Buddha, omniscient. You need to concern yourself. For example, some in our countries, when you buy a car, very fresh, new, all the machines is really new. But there is some strange companies coming. You need guarantees. What? You need guarantees. What I need to guarantee? My car is perfect. Oh, your car is contaminated, compounded. Your cars need the guarantees. And do you believe in permanent? You think is my cars will be old? They said yes. I don't believe in permanent, but your car will become old, impermanent. Then you need guarantees. Like this. Today you think fresh, you good, but you need a guarantee. We don't know. Is at the moment, it's fresh, your body, mind is fresh, verb, but it is not forever. No, we need to think, to develop compassion, wisdom, to quickly to find solution in order to make liberation from sufferings. And meditate on compassion with great energies. And it's like kind of the strong, this kind of to think. Finally, reflect deeply upon all beings in the three world realms. Desire realms, form realms, formless realms. Wherever there is space, there are beings. Wherever there are beings, there are negative actions. And then the resulting suffering, poor beings, absolutely like this. This sentence is also very important. Wherever there is space, there are beings. Wherever there are beings, there are negative actions, and there are resulting sufferings. And this kind of, it is the really truth. We can to look, and obviously, we can to look at the human realms. There's without suffering. We can to see direct animal realms. Of course, there are not freedom the sufferings. Indirectly, of course, there's hell, pretas. No. And this kind of, we need to think, poor sentient beings, involved only in all that negative action and suffering. How wonderful it would be if each individual being of the six dharmas would be free from all the perception brought about by past actions. We look at the individual sentient beings in the six dharmas. Each individual beings, the six dharmas, like three is lower dharmas, three is superior dharmas. Low is the hell dharmas, hunger ghost realm, animal realms. More superior realms, compare that, human realms, God realms, demigod realms. All this kind of perceptions brought about by the past actions. Each individual beings of the six realms, they have different own perceptions, appearances. Maybe hell beings has experience or perceptions not same as the hunger ghost realms. Hunger ghost realms perception is not same as the animal realms. Animal realms perception is not same as the human. Human realms perception is not same as the God realms. God realms perception is not same as the demigod. They have each individual different experience, appearances, perceptions. That is nobody's gift to them, nobody's created them. They brought their own each individual in the past actions, karmic appearances. All those sufferings and negative tendencies, and attain the everlasting happiness of the perfect Buddhahood. Of course, like kind of we have like a wonderful wish of wonderful it would be. All those six realms sentient beings, everlasting happiness, like result everlasting happiness of the perfect Buddhahood. That is the wonderful. If this kind of happened, maybe if we want to make it happen, we should to develop compassion, kindness, and practice quickly Dharma. This is like kind of our wish, our wonderful, and kind of the ideas. When you start meditation on compassion, it is very important to focus first on suffering beings, individuals. That is the very important. In the beginning, it says, maybe you single suffering sentient beings, like execution person or slaughter sentient beings. Or maybe it's like realms, first to concerning hell realms, then you move to the hunger ghost realms, then you can to move animal, human, God, demons. Then it's like if we are develop our compassion like this, there is such a kind of the meaning. At 8 times, and only then 2, train yourself step by step until you can meditate on all beings as a whole. Like whoever you develop that, whoever you see, you have compassion. Even you see your enemy, even you see any kind of sentient beings. It doesn't matter human, it doesn't matter kind of animals. Your compassion is like space, pervasive or pervaded to all the sentient beings. Your inner compassions, everything's included, nothing excluded. That is the great compassion. Otherwise, your compassion will be vague and intellectual. It is the truth. Like kind of you all the times, may all the sentient beings, you like kind of the thinking limitless sentient beings, but your really compassion doesn't take form into your minds. In order to take the form of compassion in your mind, you should to like kind of the first to thinking single suffering sentient beings. Then you can to extend it to over all the sentient beings. Then your compassion is never become the vague intellectual. And then it's become the real things. If not that, then it is not be the real thing, the compassions. Reflect particularly on the suffering and hardships of your own cattle, sheep, pack horse, and other domestic animals. Those you can to think. Maybe it's like your own cattle, how much they sufferings. And also it's like sheeps, how much you make suffering, how much they are sufferings. Pack horse, like kind of the riding horse things, how much they kind of need to, like a kind of need to sufferings. And therefore, first time is maybe we can to meditate compassion on the close, our own domestic animals or the families, societies. We inflict all the sorts of barbarity on such creatures. And creatures comparable to the torments of hell. We pierce their nose, cast at them, pull out their hair, and bleed them alive. Not even for a moment do we consider that these animals might be sufferings. And we are like kind of cannibals, like kind of no compassionate. We look at our domestic animals, how much we are making sufferings. Like we are sort of the barbarities, such kind of that we are creatures. And like kind of we make the comparable to the torments of the hell during our domestic animals. We pierce their nose, and in order to use them, control to them, cast them, they are not kind of grow up properly. They cannot keep their own organs. Pull out their hairs, because we need the hair. They like kind of the wool, hairs. We, in order to make cloth, tent, so on, bleed them alive. Look, many countries, those domestic animals alive, but making the hole in the veins, take a lot of blood out. Not even a moment do I consider that these animals, slightly thinkings, never ever concerning those sentient beings has suffering or not, might be sufferings. If we think about it carefully, the trouble is that we have not cultivated compassions. It is the truth. If you really kind of develop the compassions, you never do it. And of course, sometimes we can to say, is yesterday questions, somebody be the householder. It's difficult with the heart humming to other sentient beings. But when you are developed, cultivated compassions, for example, maybe like kind of the you or we, like the paste their nose, but maybe very gentle, very kindly. Try to without kind of the pain, to cast it also like gently, more like kind of the try to softly pull out the hair. They never do that. To using the scissor to cut the hair. And each moment they think they have sufferings. They appreciate those domestic animals. And even some of the Buddhist countries really kind of, sometimes they of course eat meat and they do these things, but they consider those suffering of the sentience, the animals, very much. They never ignored it. And they sometimes they say sorry. Of course, they are like kind of householder. They have family. They need to something in order to survive. They are not kind of the monk and nuns, yogis. And their perspective, but they using the animal, but they're very gentle. They are very kind of concerning them. During the day alive, they very much kind. They give food. They kind of taking care. They bring into the nature areas. They're very kind. They appreciate very much. Of course, those animals be very happy. But of course, if we do not cultivate the compassions, then we are like kind of animals, our own position. Animals hasn't got any suffering. Animals like kind of the vegetations. You look at in the YouTubes. They're kind of like kind of the deers. Mother of the deer and taking care that the baby. They certainly beaver need to cross the river. And then she saw that her baby is the cross the river, and then as a crocodile want to catch the baby. But she immediately jumping into the water, and she like kind of dedicated her life to be in the front of the crocodile, and crocodile eated him, murdered. But she saved her cub, baby. Like this, they have how much kind of the feeling, and they consider, they have the feeling, they recognize their own families. how much they taking care of their children, even they spend their life. When you see these things, wow, how is you can to repay your kindness, your parents, and also how much the animals has feelings, same as we are. When you watch that, you cannot to stop your tear. Like this, we need to cultivate the compassions. Think about that carefully right now, this moment, with someone's to pull out a single strand of your hair, you would cry out in pain. It is absolutely truth. One is like kind of the peace, small piece of the world is like kind of the needed into our bodies. We are ouch, pains. We make suffering to the other sentient beings. We never think about that. How it is the like kind of, that is we need to think. We need to develop step by step. You would not put up with at all. Yet we traced out all the long belly hairs of our yaks. This is like kind of the awful things doing in Tibet. Some very much selfish and self-centered, they said. And they said it's like we cannot make the strength, rope, short yak hairs. We need yak hair, longer hairs. Then it's like they twisted out all their long belly hairs and leaving a red will of the bare flesh behind. You twisted out their belly hairs, each single hairs, and you pull out from the blooding. But you don't think about that. And from there each hair was growing a drop of the blood beginning to flow. But never think. Like ourselves, you can twist it or pull out one single hair. How much the pain, how much the sufferings. But some is the nomad, very much selfish. They need like this. Beast is getting with the pain. It's never cross our mind that is the sufferings. Never ever take any form of the compassions in our minds. Like when we are doing this such torch to the sentient beings, then therefore we are also sufferings. We cannot stand having a blister on our hand. Someone has a special tools, twisted out all the belly hairs, long belly hairs, but someone they use the hands, blist, water blist, or the blood blist. They consider the hand, wow, my hand, the pain, because I twisted out all the long belly hairs. But this yak has sufferings never concerning. Sometimes when our backside hurt from traveling on horsebacks, sometimes horsebacks very bad because the saddle is very awful, painful. You long times to ride. The saddle is not good. Horseback, it is like kind of the back of the horse is a hole, blooding, pus. But still, do not thinking about that. We cannot longer sit in the saddle and have to ride side saddles. Side saddle is like kind of the, in Tibet we can say the zundups. And horse is like a holding in the horseback. Humans' buttons cannot bear that. They pain. You are not carrying nothing. You are sitting on the horseback, but your button is pain. You cannot properly ride. You lack kind of the leg put on the saddle. That is we call the side saddle. Instead that like kind of the properly hold. When you do the side saddle, it's also horse is not very comfortable because one side is very heavy, like kind of you need to dragging like through. But it's never occurred to us that the horse might be a very or the suffering. When it can no longer go on and it stumbles, painting for the breath, of course, and still think that it is just being stubborn. This making stubborn need to more and beating whippers. We lose our temper and thresh it without a moment of the sympathy. Thresh and like beating those yak or the animals. And like this, think of an individual animals, a sheep, for example, how it is they're doing in the nomad, the owner of the sheep. That is the being slaughtered. They want to slaughter. These two things are the sometimes the family situations make the jokes. And sometimes it's like a mother it is, the doer of the stain ropes, in Tibet, these yak tents. And mother's telling says, short yak belly hairs, we cannot make the stain, and too much short. And the father's heard this sound, and then it's like he's twisted and pull out the belly hair, the yaks. And also sometimes it says like mother of course need to cook, and like maybe it's like a lot of guests coming and she serves things, and maybe there's no meat, and kind of the way if the talking. Now there's no like kind of the meat. What can we do? And the nomadic fathers, they heard this hair, and he go to in the flock of the sheeps, and he need to slaughter. And like this, then it's make a joke like all the times, mother, can you close your mouth? Never say like this. And then they said, oh yes, father doesn't want. Mother can easily to stop mouth. And then maybe father not slaughter or not twisted out longer belly hairs of the yaks. Then how is it the father can kill that like sheeps? There's example. First, as it is dug from the flock of the sheeps inside. He go to in the flock of sheeps, choosing which is fat, which is big. It struck with the paralyzing fears. This one is, I'm not sure to translate it. It is struck with paralyzing fears. Maybe it's like a literally translation it is. I would to say inconceivable, like terrified and panic. this sheep itself. Maybe this same as the meaning. Paralyzed means the sheep is become, but paralyzing fears. And blood blisters. What does it mean? Blood blisters comes up there. It has been grabbed. When in the flock of the sheep, the owners to catch grasped the sheep, at that moment, and the sheep's body, their blood blistered. Talking chakras, blood blistered. And it is the thrown in its backs very hardly and put up very strongly to hit on the ground. Its feet are tied together with the leather thongs, and is the muzzle bound till it the suffocated. Very ugly way they killing, like tidy up their mouth, muzzles, and then is they cannot breathe. Then they are suffocated. That is kind of the way of the killing sufferings. Compare that these days they're using electricity or some tools. Just 1 second they died. More nice if you kill animals. And this kind of the killing is really suffocated. If in the throne, if it's agonies, of course it's such a kind of the sufferings. The animal is little slow in die. Of course, like kind of, it's like slowly, cannot breathe. Eyes become blue, tear. Then they're going to die. But the butchers, very much uncompassionate, man of the evil actions, just gets irritated. Why irritated? He says on that doesn't want to die. Even these animals dying, but it's like this during this period to die, they're irritated. They say and beats it, say die quickly. How is the cruel? How it is like kind of the harsh. Hardly is the sheep dead, then it is already being skinned. Still like kind of outer breath finished, not yet inner breath not finished, but they already skinned. And gutted means already like inner stomach, test everything they took out. This is like absolutely in a Western or in the our like kind of the like a kind of butcher in the place. Absolutely. Some machines, they cut head, chopped head, and already inner stomach, everything's out. And already they skin, but animals not yet died, still moving, rumbling. At the same time, another beast is being blood, until it cannot work straight. I think this is like in Africa and some in the maybe in Tibet also. Like they kill the animals, they take blood from the living like kind of animals, took a lot of letters blood. These animals is very difficult to work. The blood of the dead animal and mix it with the blood of the living one, and mixture and cooked up, and sausage in the tile of the one already disembroiled, like kind of everything's took out of it. Anyone who can eat each thinks afterward must be a real cannibal. That is really the barbarian and kind of the absolutely cannibal, they say. And we consider it like this. We never ever become like this. We need to think those suffering sentient beings. Okay, we can to stop 5 minutes. Or 5 minutes, not 15 minutes.